Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 211 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I am your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I am a speaker and a two-time author. Our second book, From Letters to Leaders, Redefining New Member Education and Leveraging Belonging to Eliminate Hazing, came out in November. So go and pick that up on Amazon today. So we call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring fraternity and sorority leaders together. Fun fact, I met our next guest at the AFA annual meeting in Dallas. And for those of you who don't know what AFA is, it's the Association of Fraternity and Sorority Advisors. And so they get together on an annual basis for education and for some networking, etc. And I have to tell you, Cassandra and her team are just some of the most amazing people that you would ever meet. They're so dedicated to the fraternity and sorority movement that it was just so refreshing to have a conversation with one of our peers, somebody who is well respected, somebody who is an author, and just to see the motivation to go out and to help the Greek community was just so refreshing to me. So I said, you know what, I have to bring Cassandra and get her on the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. And here she is, Cassandra Owens. She is a one-of-a-kind dynamic speaker. She inspires her audiences with humor and hard facts, while also tackling issues that most people find controversial, kind of like me. She demonstrated sound moral concepts while teaching proper ethics and providing encouragement for moral edification, which provides encouragement and motivation for her listeners. Cassandra's views and acumen are secured in experience ranging from educator, counselor, and chaplain to challenges of college advisement. She is known on her campus as the Old Testament scholar, bringing a new perspective to the students that she encounters. Now, Cassandra holds membership in Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, where she served as national chaplain, Southeastern Regional Undergraduate Chapter Coordinator, chapter president, and advisor to several collegiate chapters. She's also a member of the Links Incorporated, Toastmasters, the Tennessee Association for Student Success, and the American Academy of Religion. I am so pumped. Welcome to the show, Cassandra.
Thank you, Mike. What an introduction. Is that really me?
That's you. Can you believe you did all of that?
I can't believe it.
Listen, if you want to pack me away in a suitcase and take me on the road with you, I'd be glad to do introductions for you all over the country. So that way, with your words, really get to the students. I want to be a part of that. You let me know when we're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good man.
So I want our audience to know a little bit of background on you. I know that you decided to go to Clark Atlanta University for your undergraduate experience, and I'm dying to know, why was Clark Atlanta the right choice for you?
So what Clark was for me was a place to grow and learn, and it was small enough for me to make my mistakes without being judged and continue to move my progress forward. I grew up on the campus of Lane College. Both of my parents are Laneites. So I knew I would go to a HBCU. It was just which one. So Clark was far enough away from home where my parents could get to me overnight, but then close enough for me to get there if I need to get home in a crisis. And it was the right choice for me, hands down. I mean, it was just a place of self-esteem. I learned who I was as a strong Black female, who I could become. I saw myself in my faculty members, the staff, the community. It was just a place for me to grow and learn. I am who I am because of Clark Atlanta, hands down.
I love that answer. And now you're Dr. Owens, so obviously it worked
out.
And
you know what, Mike? What I learned indirectly was that Clark would expect an answer from me at some point in time, and I better be prepared to answer. When life called, I had to have an answer that would represent Clark in an excellent way. And that's how I live my life.
That's beautiful. What a testimonial for Clark Atlanta University.
Absolutely.
I hope they're listening.
Go Panthers.
Now, you hold membership in Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. There you served as national chaplain, undergraduate chapter coordinator, chapter president, advisor. Yes. I'm wondering, why was Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated the right choice for you?
So this is a different kind of question for me, because actually Sigma Gamma Rho chose me. My mom, my cousins, my aunts, my neighbors. I come from a long line of members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Now, I will be fair, because I did look at other organizations when I went to Clark, but I knew in my heart that that was the one for me, because I want to be a part of an organization where I saw strong women who were movers and shakers. So I chose, Sigma Gamma Rho chose me, but I'm glad it did. All of my family members. So we go to conventions, we can share a family dinner and a family camaraderie around the family and the sorority at the same time. So it's awesome. It is awesome.
I
It is
love
awesome.
that. You know, it could go one of two ways, right? I was talking to Lawrence Ross, all of his family members are all Kappas, and he ended up going Alpha Phi Alpha. So it's like sometimes they're like, yes, I want to be part of the family, right? And other times
Right,
they're like, I
right.
just want to pave my own path.
And I was able, and the good thing about that though, I was able to pave my own path even in that organization, because I was able to move in different regions of the country where in fact, and when I went to Washington State, I was a charter member of a chapter there. So I was able to do my own thing in spite of being a part of my family.
Got it. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that
it was
a lot.
awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking about family, your dad is your favorite fraternity man. Let's be real here.
Yes.
Dr. Robert G.
Yes.
Owens Sr., member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, who I have all the respect in the world for. I mean, we have 3 speakers on our small roster that are all Alpha Phi Alpha men, okay? And he has influenced your life in remarkable ways. So talk about how he has influenced your life.
Yeah, so my dad was a man that had a quiet strength. He never went above a 5, but he had a big stick, was very, very soft, very, very strong, very, very stern, very, very firm. And I saw how he interacted with his students that encouraged me to just kind of lead my own way without being, you don't have to be loud. You can forge your own path in a way that people know what you mean without being boisterous or confrontational or, just very verbose. He was just very, very, very proud man and a standard of excellence. He was over the choir. And I remember, Mike, the choir would always do the Messiah at Christmas time. And it would be people of all ethnicities coming to hear these Lane College students do this Messiah. And they would sing it so well. I would always be so proud of them. That's my dad, doing this thing for the community. He was concerned about his family, the community, and the students. And he was in politics, local politics. So he was very, very active and engaged in all areas of his life. But a very, very quiet and very, very strong, soft power kind of guy.
Man, I am jealous of the relationship that you have there because, I mean, my parents came from another country, so they didn't really understand what fraternity and sorority is all about. And they still, given what I do for a living, right? They still don't know what fraternity and sorority is all about. So I'm jealous that you had that experience. And then when you start talking about your dad, and I'm reading about it in your books, it made me think and pause for a moment about how my son, who is now 17 and getting ready to choose which college he wants to go to, how he views me and the fraternity system as a result of what I do for a living. So it started me thinking about the responsibility that I carry because he's going to be influenced by the way that I act, every day.
Absolutely. And I don't think my dad did that on purpose. It was just a part of our lifestyle. It was who we show every week. I mean, so it was just who we were. It was our life. It wasn't anything intentional. It was just who we were as people. Yeah. And I think they wanted to make sure that we knew that African Americans had a place in this world and that they could strive and be excellent at every level. It's just who we were. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
And now I can see it's embedded in you. I mean, that's not leaving. That's a part of your DNA now.
Oh, absolutely. It's in there. It's like Prego. It's just in there.
It's in there. It's just in there.
It's
I love it. Now, you worked in the area of student support services at a lot of different colleges and universities. What are some big takeaways from your experience in student support services that our college student listeners can learn from right now?
So one of the things I always tell my students is that student support services is a place to support you. We support you. We don't do the work for you. It's support. And I guess that's a challenge for me today with the students that I serve. Because I want them to know that we are here to help you along your journey, but it's your journey. This is your education and your journey, and you have to own it.
Mm.
We are here to assist you in every area that we can. We want you to succeed, but it's your journey. It is your responsibility to get a catalog and read it, to know what course you should take next, what your financial obligation is, what it would be when you leave. It is your journey. You need to own it and maneuver it and manage it well. So that's it. It is your journey. You have to own your journey. You are responsible for you.
Yep. I love it. And I say the same thing as a speaker when I go on campus. I tell the students all the time, my time is over in the chapter, right? I can't make decisions for you. This is your journey. I can help you. I can give you advice.
Your journey.
But I can give you advice, but ultimately it's going to be your decision because I'm not in the chapter anymore. I'm an alumnus, right? It's your show.
Right.
It's your time. And we have to empower them to make their own decisions. And sometimes, I would say to you, sometimes they make bad decisions. It's just, it's a reality, but they hopefully are going to learn from it. And hopefully they're not going to put the fraternity or sorority charter in jeopardy because of that bad decision. So as an advisor, you have to know when to step in and when to hold back and let them make those mistakes, because that's how they learn, right?
Absolutely. And even in my classes, I tell my students, my love for you will never change.
Right.
I love you regardless. You're in my heart. I love you. And if you don't do the work, I will give you an F on that transcript. But my love for you remains the same.
I love that.
It's with the sorority fraternities. You have to make the decision and own it, even if it's the wrong decision at the time. Say, I messed up, my bad, let's start again. And we love you regardless.
Yeah.
Yes.
And students are going to make mistakes. I mean, I certainly made a ton of mistakes. So I think we have to normalize that, especially for college students, because that's how they find their leadership style.
Absolutely. And even we make mistakes as adults.
Sure. I made mistakes all the time. I made mistakes as the executive director of my national fraternity. I make mistakes. But I learn from them, and there's more positives, obviously. But you know what? I learned from that, and I'm better because of it. And so, I mean, you look at, all the greats, whether it be Michael Jordan, whether it be Tiger Woods, whoever, they're all going to tell you that, they've made mistakes along the way, but it's like constantly working and striving to be better, even though they're at their peak of performance in terms of their sport, right?
And you have support either way. You have our support. It never goes away. Absolutely. Our support never goes away.
Absolutely. I mean, Michael Jordan will tell you that. I mean, if it wasn't for Phil Jackson, right, where would Michael Jordan be? You need support. You need a motivator. The motivators, like Michael Jordan, because clearly he's a motivator on the Bulls, right? But he needed a motivator, right? And it happened to be in the form of Phil Jackson. Okay, right? So I think even the motivators need motivators. And I think that's a really good thing for students to understand. I think that's a really important concept.
Support is a must. You must have that support.
Yeah, I agree.
Must have. Now,
one of your greatest accomplishments is being named chaplain at Rust College, which is located in Holly Springs, Mississippi. You were the first full-time chaplain at the institution in 20 years and the first female chaplain in the school's history. Talk to us about that particular role and why was that so important to you?
That role was awesome for me for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons what I learned from that, Mike, was that lack of fact psych. Well, I could not walk on that campus and forge a religious department with students. But what happened was there's a young lady who wanted to do student ministry. And she was, hot and one of their peers. And Thursday night was the party night at Rust. So she wanted to do a service Thursday at 9:30. And she promoted it. And it was just the most rewarding experience, because what we found was we had like 200 students, Mike, that would come to a Thursday night 9:30 service in that chapel. And High Springs is a small town, so the word got around. So we were just like, they were like, go to Rust at 9:30, 9:30 Thursday night, the chapel's on. And it was the most amazing experience. And I was able to influence lives and then let them, train the leader and let her do her thing. Mom, you did this wrong, you did that right. And it was just the most amazing experience to be able to touch and influence lives at that level for ministry, where most schools are struggling because me and you can't do that because we're older. but there's someone there who was like them, who they could see that was doing ministry. It was amazing for me. And let me give you a story. It was a student lost her brother one Thursday, and the mother called the roommate. The roommate calls me. We keep her in chapel until the mother's able to drive down to Holly Springs to give her that bad news. But the good news is we were there to support her in her grieving process. So when she found out that her brother had died, we were all there. So it was painful, but she had that same support that night to get her through that process. It was awesome. It was just, I love that experience.
You're the right person for that job. There's no question about it. That was perfect, that role.
Yes, yes. It was a perfect role for me at that time.
Yeah.
And I was able to, like I said, to influence students. I had student ministers who I was able to, come in contact with, to let them flourish, to enhance their giftings. And it was awesome. It was just simply awesome.
Yeah,
I just love seeing students flourish, to see students succeed. It's good for me.
You and me both. That's my best reward.
That's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I love your books. You gave me a copy of your book called Game Changers, right there. The truth about Black men and fraternities. In this book, and I loved reading it, you have this evidence-based argument that proves that power and positive influence of Black fraternities on historically Black college campuses and beyond. And they now have a combined membership of nearly 1 million men, and most of them have already celebrated their 100th anniversary, depending on which NPHC organization we're talking about. So talk to us about, why is it their time to shine and be celebrated, even at a time when the media right now is focusing on all the negatives of fraternity life, like hazing?
Yes, and that's all you hear.
Right.
You rarely hear anything about the good things that they do. The reason I wrote the book, Mike, is because I'm sitting in chapel one Wednesday, and the guy at the podium has his black and gold tie on, and I think back the last 6 SGA presidents of this institution have been a member of that fraternity. Now, who tells their story? Can we talk about the men that are doing really, really well? The men that are, the drum majors in the band, the captain of the football team, the honor society young men. Let's talk about them as opposed to hazing. Hazing is one aspect of what they do, but that's not all of what they do. And I didn't know men who did anything else but great things. Those are the men that I knew and interacted with. So I want to tell their story. And it's their time to shine, because I want Black men to know that I see them, we see them, we appreciate what you do for us, how you protect our communities, how you just do your thing without anybody saying, go do your thing. You just shine, you take care of us without the celebration. You rarely hear men being celebrated like Black men being celebrated. But I want them to know it's their time to shine. In spite of what the media says, you do great things. We love you, we appreciate you, and now is your time to take some glory for what you've done for us after all these years.
Beautiful. In the book,
in fact, yes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you talked in that book about the 2012 death about Mr. Trayvon Martin, which ignited a movement here in the United States. After Mr. Martin, then there was Mr. Eric Gardner, Mr. Tamir Rice, Mr. Michael Brown, Mr. Sean Bell, Mr. Denroy DJ Henry, Mr. Ahmaud Arbery, Mr. George Floyd. I'm listing all of this on purpose, right? There have been no advancements regarding the unwarranted killings of Black men. So how do we change this course that we're on right now here in America?
That's the question we can all ask. But I would just say this, Mike. Can we all just lead with the heart? Lead with your heart, not your head. There is good in all of us. If we just get to a place, we just lead with our hearts. It sounds simple, but if each one reach one, just lead with your heart. Just lead from the heart first. When I met you, we just at the conference, just communicating. Just lead with the heart. Try to find a commonalities. We are more alike than we are different.
Oh yeah. does, no
Absolutely.
question. I mean, we come from different
Absolutely.
worlds, but we have so much in common,
Absolutely.
from values, from advancing the fraternal movement,
All of
from
that.
working in higher ed, all of that. And immediately I found so many things in common with you that we could talk for days and we would never repeat ourselves because there's so much
Exactly.
ground to cover. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It start there. You just get
Start
just people
there.
just to lead there. Just lead with your heart.
Yeah. And
Just
find
crack your eyes. Don't
commonalities.
just sleep. Just leave. Yeah.
Find
What's what we have in
commonalities.
common?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if we do that, then it's really hard to have a confrontational relationship with somebody when you're like, you know what? Me and this person are the same. I mean, we have so many common things. You could sometimes you got to work hard to find what that is, but it's out there.
But and it's worth it.
Yeah.
And this was, and even when you lead with your heart, and you find areas where you disagree, but you have enough respect for that person to say, okay, I can agree to disagree, and we can still have a productive relationship.
Oh man, I wish that we could get to a point where we can just agree to
Yes.
disagree and just have debate like the early days of fraternity. I mean, let's be honest about how our fraternity started, right?
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
debate. It was, hey, we want to debate something that's considered controversial on a college campus. Let's bring it off campus and have that discussion. But it's not going to be a personal attack. It's about debating the issues of the day. That's
Of
what
the day.
it is, right?
Of the day. And we
Oh,
leave there still, and we leave that room still in love,
yes.
still with respect for each other,
Yes.
even though we don't agree on what the issues of the solution.
100%. You also
Yes.
gave me a copy of your other book. This one is called The Time Is Now, Developing Leaders
Yes.
for Today's Organizations of Color. And this one you wrote with Helen J. Owens, who's your mom. And the question that is often raised is, what sets the most successful leaders apart from the others? So I'm wondering, what is your conclusion on that question?
We think a couple of things. We think there's a thing called what we call high impact leaders. And those leaders are leaders who understand who they are, the leadership style, and their vision, and then how to execute that vision. How to then, and also how to forge what we call partnerships with other people to ensure that the organization remains healthy and viable. Now, there are all kinds of styles, different types of leaders, so there's not a one size fits all. But we do want you to understand that you have to invest in yourself to understand what your style is, and then how your style would then forge or interact with organization.
Got it. I got it. I love it. I love these books. They're absolutely incredible. So thank you for writing them. Thank you for letting me read them, because I want everybody in my audience to go out and pick up these books as soon as possible. Game Changers, The Truth About Black Men in Fraternities. The other one is The Time Is Now, Developing Leaders for Today's Organizations of Color.
And Mike, can I add one more thing, Mike?
Yeah, please.
What I want about the Game Changers, because I want you to see Black men differently.
Mm-hmm.
If your perception is negative, my hope is that when you read their book, you see them positively.
Yep.
About men that we love, adore, and appreciate.
Yep.
So that's my hope. If your position or perception of Black men is one way, I want you to see it different after you read the book.
And it's all evidence-based. Everything that you lay out is evidence-based. Yeah, you did great research. That's what I could tell right away. I'm like, all right, now we have a researcher. This is the kind of woman I want. This is exactly where we need to be. So
yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. So if our listeners, if they want to bring you in as a speaker on their campus, where's the best place for them to go and to connect with you?
On my website. I'm at drcassandraowens.com.
I love it. Easy. I love it.
And you can always find me through Mike. Mike can find me as well.
I certainly can. That website is
drcassandraowens.com.
There you go. It's drcassandraowens.com. Go and check out Dr. Cassandra Owens. I mean, she will change your life, okay? She's not just teaching lessons for in college. She's teaching you lessons for life. And I love her books. I love everything about her. She's got this aura around her that makes you want to be around her 24/7. I wish I could just bottle up Dr. Owens and just take her with me, around the day, open it up when I'm feeling down, because she's got energy and she's got such a positive way of looking at life.
Thank you.
And you need to need to have those people around you, surrounding you,
Absolutely.
so that way
Absolutely.
when you get down, because we all get down, there's all kinds of bad news out there. If I turn on the news, I mean, you can get
Oh,
depressed in a second, right?
in a second.
So think about who are the people surrounding you, and are they motivating you to be better, at a better person? Are they giving you a positive vibe and a positive attitude and focusing on the positives that are happening, or are they bringing you down? Dr. Cassandra Owens, you bring me up, and thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you.
Of
Thank you so
course,
much
it's
for
my
having me.
pleasure. My pleasure. And to all of our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like it and share it with other college students. And we'll see you on another episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks so much.
Thanks.